Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And this is Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 4, How the Mighty Have Fallen.
Technically, it's still a Bible reference episode title, but I think those stop next week, unless they're referencing the Book of Mormon. I'm going to have to do some research this week.
This definitely is about Robyn, though.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen? How the birdies have fallen.
Well, she's sleeping in a closet on the floor.
It is not an evening at the SheRah Chateau. Not what she's used to. Unless she's testing out the pantry space that she's set up for Truly. You think she's done that a couple of times?
They renovated that pantry. There's not room for a twin mattress in there. She made sure of that.
Every single ounce of space is being occupied by supplements and all sorts of other things that are absolutely necessary to run that household.
Floor watermelons. Are they just growing out of the floor? Maybe that's what's happening.
That could be, yeah. It's like a dandelion through the cracks of the sidewalks.
Saul just spits the pits onto the floor, the seeds.
Spits the pits. There you go.
How the mighty have fallen, though. This is just making me think about how, so there's not been great feedback about this season so far. We're on episode 4. Like we've told you, buckle up, prepare. We've got a long way to go. And it doesn't seem like you all are really enjoying this season.
See, this is the thing with Sister Wives, though. You got to let them cook. You got to let them cook.
To that point, in this episode, we did get Cody talking about something that he didn't talk about last episode. Everyone was upset. Why isn't he explaining more about Maddie? And then he did.
See, here's the thing. We got to let them cook. You have to give them time, but then also let's keep it moving. So I think that's TLC's job, is they kind of have to force it along a little bit.
I think they're re-editing the back half of the season because they had a poll, or not a poll, but a survey that they had up on like Instagram last week, where they were taking people's points of view or opinions about what they thought about the season so far, and then what things they may or may not want to see in the rest of the season. And they've never done that before.
I feel like this is where people kind of blur the lines, where it's TLC is airing the show. They are the broadcast host for this.
They buy it from the production company.
They buy it from a production company. So the production company and TLC, they have their deals that they work out, and that's how this is kind of built out. See, a lot of people are assuming that, oh, this TLC contract, that's all these people who are involved. There's the production company that's in between those. So I feel like the production company is presenting them with, here's this show, and TLC is saying, okay, you guys need to move this along.
You need help.
Yeah. You are losing it. You are riding right on the edge. You're toeing the line, and it's time to go ahead and move ahead in the timeline.
I just can't believe after so many years of the same complaint, have they finally heard us?
Maybe. I mean, it's been years in the making. I guess it is kind of poetic that we've been complaining about it since 2020, and now they're addressing it in 2024. So that is kind of like the turnaround time for the show, too. Just in general.
So I don't know. Hang in there, because the rest of the season may be based on what people answered to that poll.
But I swear to God, if they start showing us the Robyn taking Aurora and Brianna around to find different youth groups to attend, I'm going to lose my mind.
It doesn't matter, because we'll just make up our own stories at that point.
I get it, but I don't want that at all. Please don't make me do that, because we know they already have it. There's those photos on those websites where they're at their youth groups. Well, it's young adults group.
After that entire search, there's no way they're leaving Flagstaff. Are they going to rip Rora from her youth group community?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Unless, please go fill out that poll and say we don't want anything to do with that storyline.
Also, there's no way this show is going anywhere, because Max is pumping out the hits over there. New things such as Roller Jam, which is like an answer to Dancing with the Stars, but with roller skates.
Yeah, I feel like my first suggestion was maybe they could have done breakdancing, but I think we all saw how that went at the Olympics. And plus, dancing and breakdancing, that might have been too close to a ripoff. But dancing on roller skates, that's something completely different entirely.
They had to have Joanna Gaines in it and executive produce it.
Not in it.
She's in.
Well, I mean,
she's a,
she's not participating.
Thank you for clarifying. She's a judge.
Right. She's judging.
Also, this is not a promo. This is just something ridiculous that we saw 5 minutes before we started recording. And we're like, the well is not deep as far as things that they could replace Sister Wives with. So
if you think they're on the verge of canceling Sister Wives, they have plenty of other things to cut in front.
All right. So the episode description, do you want to let us know what that was?
Yeah. The TLC description for this one is: the Brown family spends Thanksgiving apart. Christine and Robyn put their differences aside to visit with Mykelti's newborns. Robyn pushes Cody to reconcile with his kids. Then Christine reveals that she went on a promising first date. Ooh.
I wonder how that'll end.
This is the kind of stuff where it's like, we can skip ahead in the storyline here. We know where this is going.
I feel like they did.
I feel like they have been, if we're being honest. The Mykelti birth, taking one episode, a singular episode for a birth, was a miracle.
They are hanging around the house forever now, but I know it's because of the Christine Robyn thing. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mykelti avenges her siblings by making Robyn the closet wife. Christine decides to shave for her second date with David. SheRah's redemption arc begins.
They're really trying hard for the redemption arc here.
Yeah, we told you it was going to happen.
We knew it because, once you hit these points with the villains, and if they get irredeemable, then they're not interesting.
Which Cody is.
Cody is at that point. I feel like we were cooking up one storyline that maybe could bring him back from the brink, but I don't think he has the personal capacity for it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that on our mediocre down episode over on Patreon this month. That's at the $8 and up tier.
A little like father, like son sort of analysis that we're going to run down.
All right. And before we get into things, announcements, please do not skip. This first one is very important. It is that season of political ads. If you hear one running on this podcast, it is not supposed to be there. So please contact us and let us know. Also, please don't get upset. Know that we are opted out of political ads.
And always have been opted out of political ads. So it's been some very interesting conversations with our podcast hosting company this week.
I will be sending more strongly worded emails. So let us know if you hear anything and we will follow up on that. Big news. Maddie waited until we recorded our last episode to announce that she is pregnant with baby number 4.
We found out, just like Cody did at Logan's wedding. We just walked in the room and there she was.
Just up on Instagram. We're just going to pretend that's baby number 3 since she's still pregnant on the show.
It's only going to be a couple more years before we see that, too.
Do you think that'll confuse Cody?
And I think, he's going to think that this was the birth that he missed out on.
Man, it's been a long time.
It's been a couple.
Pregnant.
Yeah, very long. Unusually long pregnancy. And don't forget, we are doing our watch party on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern in our Discord channel. We've got the Sister Wives Season 19 chat where we're going to be throwing the gifts around, making jokes, and watching along together. So be sure to sign up at patreon.com/survivingpod and connect that over to your Discord account.
You also get this episode ad-free, as well as our other podcast, Surviving Reality, where we're covering Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. You can listen to that ad-free and early over there as well. And we have lots of other things going on. We mentioned Mediocre Down. That's a bonus podcast. We have Let's Talk About It, which is a bonus podcast where we talk about other shows that you all vote on. We've got merch. We got all kinds of things. So check that out at patreon.com/survivingpod.
There is a new shirt. We got the official Pony in the Water shirt available at our Etsy store too. So make sure to swing by and check that out. And speaking of, let's go ahead and get that Pony in the Water here with the episode.
So we open up, we got Oma. She's here to rescue Ace and Archer. I can't say their names.
You almost said H&R Block for a second there. And I said, it's not tax season yet, is it?
They are tax deductions.
It's sneaking up on me, yeah. Right at the end of the year? Perfect.
It was November, pretty close.
Yeah, that was like right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Close enough. Yeah, that's good. That's planning ahead.
Well, But he has little puppies here. That's really the long story short. She's hiding in the closet. She's like a sleep paralysis demon who's been coming out throughout the night.
As usual.
And so now we've got Christine here.
Was this the setup that they had in the closet? They were referring to it as a mattress pad, but it looked kind of like, was it like an air mattress?
It was an air mattress.
Sort of, though, because it wasn't as large as an air mattress would normally be.
No, that was a twin-sized air mattress.
I'm talking about in like height and depth.
It was like a cheap twin-sized camping air mattress.
The girth was a little...
What Robyn's used to.
It left me wanting.
I was not looking at the air mattress. I was busy looking at the size of the closet because Robyn was acting like they've got this giant closet. It's like another bedroom attached to their room, which some people do. They have very large walk-in closets. I'm walking in, but it's not really a big walk-in.
I'm walking here.
Her face was in Tony's dirty shirts.
Oh.
You know he hangs them back up on the hangers.
Well, there might be different piles because I've been guilty of that as well, where you have your clean clothes that go on the hanger, yes, but then you have your semi-used clothes that are not clean enough to reside with the clean clothes, but they're not dirty enough to go through all the effort of doing laundry for yet. Kind of in this halfway purgatory laundry space.
I'm sorry, where do you keep these piles?
In some drawers. There are specific areas of drawers.
Not on the floor in the closet.
No, they're organized piles.
You think their shoes are on the floor?
I know I would feel bad if somebody had to sleep in our closet.
It smells like shoes.
It smells like shoes.
Yeah. I've been trying to get rid of that. If anyone has any tips, let me know.
I mean, baking soda is the usual go-to.
I did that. It didn't really work.
Yeah, there's a prominent foot odor that remains. If we're being totally honest.
Most of them are my shoes.
We can turn, well, I wasn't going to share that. You disclosed that yourself. That's okay. And see, we're able to turn the power of perception on ourselves and make light of that as well.
I wouldn't have someone sleep in our closet.
I would absolutely refuse for anyone to sleep in our closet.
I don't know. I might make Robyn do it.
Maybe, but it's because she deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make it her idea where you tell her how big this walk-in closet is, and then she agrees to it, and then you put her into that situation and it's kind of miserable, well, that's sort of on you now, I guess. It's your fault I don't love you.
The accommodations, though, I feel like they're probably similar to another room. We saw the bed that Tony and Mykelti are sleeping in. You guys are making your Patreon money over there.
Please
doing your lives.
Please buy our bed frame.
We need to upgrade from
real one.
The IKEA bed frame.
It's not doing it. Yeah, because then that was what I think it was Aspen had pointed out. Isn't this where Avalon was born? Didn't you birth Avalon in this bed? And it was like, I don't think that bed is structurally capable of holding an adult and a child simultaneously.
No, that's why she gave birth on the floor.
Yeah, because they had to
avoid the warranty on that bed.
Please send it back. I think the only reason why Robyn was creeping out of the closet at night, I don't know why I'm picturing like the closet door being open and then just her fingers wrapping around the corner of the door and then she leans around like a Babadook. But that's how I'm picturing it in my head. So I hope everybody has that same visualization with me for every time that Robyn has to bring these kiddos out because they're hungry in the middle of the night. Mykelti has to feed these kiddos. But how many times do you think Robyn maybe just tried? She tried just to see.
She tried to wet nurse them first.
Just to see. Well, I mean, because probably Saul and Ari
establishing a bond.
Saul and Ari, are they still, have we confirmed? Are they off? I don't know.
Well, we know the Binky is a point of contention in the audience here, and she's very good at getting babies to take Binkies. All the way up through age 7.
She was. Yeah, she's a pro at that. Now, getting them away from them, she has no...
That's your problem.
Yeah, absolutely no experience with that.
She was a big help, apparently, according to Mykelti, just because she didn't have to get up in the middle of the night. She didn't have to worry about the babies. She probably should have worried about them to a certain extent because she was definitely like sucking some soul energy out of them.
Yeah, there was some yucky energy in that closet for sure.
Sucking the youth out of them.
Yeah, it was like hocus pocus. It's just drawing the youthful energy off of them. I have to stay the young, youthful, beautiful wife.
This whole thing, though, it's reminding Janelle of when Christine helped her, when Logan was a baby. Remember the baby that Christine was really jealous of that she couldn't stand? She used to take the baby sometimes in the middle of the night for Janelle so that she could sleep. That sounded
that sounded bad.
It sounded bad. It was in a helpful way.
Okay. Yeah, it was a positive thing.
She would take care of Logan so that Janelle could get some sleep.
Okay, that's good. That sounds better like that.
One of the main perks of having a sister wife, apparently.
Should be. It should be. The other good perk is that Robyn's used to just dealing with shit all the time. And so there was just pooping that was taking place. She knew that
the babies had to take their first poop.
These babies were upset.
That's an unpleasant experience. So at least Robyn got to be the one who managed it.
3 diapers worth.
Mm-hmm.
Just kept going.
That's what they do. They just keep going.
Won't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop.
She's really proud of the fact that she had a hand in that.
Well, hopefully not a hand in it. But I mean, she, assisted with the process as best she could.
What time do you think that this is that everybody is here? Because Isabel has showed up. Christine is here fully dressed. She's got her hair done. She's got her hoops in.
I'll tell you, it's before noon because Robyn looks like it is the crack of dawn.
She has been watching the babies all night.
I get it. Yeah. I thought we were going to have a lights, camera, and me without a stitch of makeup moment. But we didn't. She looked like she'd been sleeping in the closet here and there.
Well, this was rough for her because she normally does sleep until noon, and this really has thrown her off of her schedule for a couple of days.
I had concerns where Robyn, when she's talking about this visit, it's not through... I mean, there was some mention of this is very helpful for Mykelti. This is great. Me and Christine have been able to put our differences aside. Maybe that will pave the way for future interactions where we can have normal human interaction. That would be great, wouldn't it? But then she goes into this whole thing about how she needs more time with the babies because it's been so great for her, Robyn, personally. And that's why she wants more time with them.
Everything she does is self-serving. She really doesn't ever step up to the plate and do things for other people just because. She didn't do that for her sister wives.
No, she is getting so much fulfillment and enjoyment out of this. The high that she flies on from having helpless, defenseless, dependent, completely, entirely dependent creatures on her survival. So it's just, that is a key element for her.
My favorite part of the whole interaction between Robyn and Christine was when Robyn was telling that story that she thought was really funny. I think it was about the diapers, wasn't
the poop. Yeah, it was the poop story.
And Christine looks at her and laughs. And then as soon as she looks away, her face is completely deadpan.
Just reset.
I'm sorry, but Christine is a fake bitch. It's funny to watch.
I like it, yeah.
I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of it, but
no.
We did have a little reminder there that we're pretending to be nice to each other.
Very
this
much
is the most awkward situation to have your child laying in bed. She just had these twins. She's had a C-section. She's uncomfortable. Tony is also laying in the bed, and you're just all sitting in the room staring at them.
Does he still have his shoes on?
Do you think he lays? Yeah, he definitely lays in bed with his shoes on.
I assume that there's a lot of shoes in the bed here for some reason. I don't know why.
I think there's not a whole lot of changing into pajamas. It's just the day clothes become night clothes.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, I just what it was making me think of was Christine's whole conversation that she had to have with Robyn a few seasons ago. We don't need to do things together. We really don't.
But they're co-parenting together. I'm sorry. Co-grandparenting together.
Honestly, they should be doing some co-parenting together because we still have Truly.
Why are we pretending that is not an interesting storyline to talk about? Who cares about co-grandparenting Mykelti's twins? I don't care about that. I want to know about the minor child. I want to know about Truly. Are they seeing Truly? Are they having visits with her? Is he paying child support? He's clearly not, because we know in real time that she has filed for custody and child support. Let's start teeing that story up.
I think this will be interesting because then that was in Cody's aside interviews too, where he's talking about how he's having such a rough time connecting with his kids and his adult children, but I got to see these grandkids because this is my only chance to get an in with them.
Which we know they do, but then they just ghost Mykelti.
Yeah, essentially that's what happens, because I feel like this is just more of that learning curve that happens because I think Maddie went through it first, where it was she has her kiddos, she has their interactions with grandparents, and you get what you get from them whenever it's beneficial, whenever it's easy, and then that's it. And I don't think Maddie was interested in going that route. She realized how unfair that was, and so she didn't want her kids to go through that. So now she's kind of coming back with, hey, I didn't really like how that went in my childhood.
I can almost understand, though, in Cody's defense, that he was a part-time parent in most of those households.
That was the setup. Yeah.
And everyone was okay with that because that was the expectation. I can understand his confusion about the level of involvement that Maddie wants with her kids. I don't understand the disconnect from Robyn, where she is here talking about this great bond that she established with the twins, how much she's looking forward to being in their lives. And yet there's no engagement from her end either.
Well, that's what gets me too, where Cody's whole thing was that was the setup. I'm a part-time dad. Yeah, but the problem is that everybody noticed that you are a full-time dad at Robyn's house. So in that setup, that's a problem because you had a system.
Well, and everybody wanted that.
Yes.
They want their full-time dad too.
Of course, yeah. If you're going to do that at Robyn's house, all right, well then just spread that around and do that at all the houses too. No, he's not going to do that. And now he's not leaving Robyn's house ever either when you're in the cul-de-sac. And
now
you know,
he has no choice.
So now you're stuck. Well, and as a kid then, looking back on it, it's like, hey, I wasn't able to assess that situation for myself because I was a child. And now looking back on it, hey, that's kind of messed up. And Cody does not like that. Any sort of accountability that's coming his way for anything that's taken place, it's just seen as the source of this is the divorce and COVID and brainwashing from a mother who's mad at me for not loving her.
It's funny how he really shifted from, it used to be all COVID. It was COVID, it was COVID, it was the COVID rules, it was how everybody reacted to COVID. And now it's the divorce and the fact that their moms talk shit about me. And now Maddie's grouped into that too.
And rumors. Yeah. And now it's rumors.
The rumors.
And rumors and gossip.
The words of Meredith Marks. The rumors and nastiness.
Well, I just think it's funny too that Cody's go-to thing is, oh, I was having troubles with my adult children and those relationships. I got to connect in with these grandkids because I think that's always been his solution to every relationship issue is just get kids involved.
Yeah, that'll help things.
That'll fix it.
No, but he likes smaller children because they don't have a judge of character formed yet about him.
Right. And that's what he is really drawn to. Very much so.
He really doesn't like once you're able to give him feedback, any constructive criticism.
That's why he was afraid of Truly from the time when she was very young. Because she was calling him out when he was not prepared for that. He's like, why is she talking to me like she's a 17-year-old?
No, thank you, Daddy.
No, thank you, Daddy. Not having it.
Well, we're going to leave them there for now. We know that relationship eventually devolves and falls apart, but we're here on the journey with them through the rest of this season.
Yeah, in the meantime here, I thought we switched over to NFL Red Zone because we're splitting up to a couple different scenes.
3? I didn't know where to look. It was so confusing.
And of course, we can't get rid of those establishing shots because then you won't know where you are at all. You won't be able to tell whose house you're at.
Also, does it matter what city they're in? All I care about is they're in 3 different places spending Thanksgiving apart.
I think we would be able to, as the audience, I think we'll be able to piece together the fact that not everyone is in the same house, in the same room, experiencing the same Thanksgiving.
And they keep thinking that we have the expectation that they're going to spend Thanksgiving together. And so this is just going to blow our minds that they were in 3 different locations.
Would you believe if I told you that these divorced people did not celebrate Thanksgiving together all in one house?
You know what's funny? They also left Mary out because they didn't have a split screen for her.
They didn't. But then they did cut to her sweeping her patio because there's always just loose brush all over her patio.
You can't take a day off.
No.
Even on Thanksgiving.
I feel like that. Well, she goes the Ebenezer Scrooge route here, where the holidays are just a real good time to catch up on work.
Worthy up.
Oh, well, maybe that's her way to win Cody back.
Oh my God.
I guess it's the Ebenezer Scrooge. It's the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol.
She's fully embracing that lifestyle.
She's trying to earn favor here.
I feel the need to tell everyone, if you haven't seen it yet, that Christine is getting into journaling, which, as we know, is the gateway drug into coaching within MLMs. So Mary's about to have some competition out there.
So she has to worthy up. Now she has to ready up for, whatever's coming next, the competition that is bound to happen here.
What happened? So we have Thanksgiving. Robyn invited Mary over because that's not awkward.
And it only took Mary 3 years to realize, I don't like being a third wheel at Robyn and Cody's house.
Do you think Robyn didn't want to cook the turkey this year?
Oh, that would be an easy solution. Yeah, she was like, Mary, you should definitely come over because I'm taking this year off. Yeah, I tried it the past couple of years. It's just very stressful. I don't like cooking it. Everybody gets sick.
Everybody got this shit last year.
I don't think it was the turkey, but I did poop my pants a couple times.
I did like that we got to see all of her QVC cookware out on the counter, so she does use it on special occasions.
Only the specialist of occasions.
I guess not a complete waste of money. It doesn't just sit in the cabinet.
It's a waste of space, though. And in those glass see-through cabinets, too, where they're just piled up in there. Not very aesthetically pleasing.
Like, we need to explain to us that divorced people don't spend Thanksgiving together usually. So that's why they're apart.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll make note of that. So please don't ever explain that to me ever again then, if you felt the need that you needed to explain it this time.
Christine's in Salt Lake City with her kids, minus Peyton, who we know can't be in the same room as Gwen, but they're not going to tell us that. And then Janelle is at Logan and Michelle's house, which the most shocking part of this is that she's able to acknowledge that it's Logan and Michelle's house.
Which, come to find out, on social media this past week, Logan and Michelle sounded like they were just as confused as to why it was being posed as a mystery family wedding experience that happened on last week's episode.
Which they do again in this episode. They call it a family wedding. So they edited around acknowledging that it was Logan's wedding, and that wasn't by request of Logan and Michelle. We have a theory about that, though. I do think that they went back and they edited it that way, that they didn't want to say it was Logan's wedding because it would look really bad if Cody and Robyn were contemplating not going to his son's wedding.
Yeah, because I think there were still a good chunk of viewers who just watched the show who didn't know whose wedding they were talking about. So once you learn the backstory and the lore and the scenes behind the scenes that are happening, and you understand that in context, it really throws a different light onto that decision-making process. And once you know it was for Logan's wedding, Logan and Michelle's wedding, that might change your opinion on how you feel about Cody and Robyn.
The other tea was about their seating arrangement, which they were sitting alone because they were supposed to be sitting with Tony and Mykelti and Avalon. But the week before, Mykelti had to pull out of going to the wedding because she was told she couldn't travel. So that is why they ended up at a table by themselves.
And I think people were going back and then pulling up photos of the wedding ceremony and saying, why was Cody saying that they were seated in a corner off in the back?
That was the reception.
I think they meant at the reception. So I think that was the difference. The ceremony, they weren't too far back. They were still up in the second row. So, I mean, it was away on the other side of the aisle from Janelle and probably most of the kids and stuff like that. But I think that was the other difference, too, that people were calling out. He wasn't in the back row, but maybe that was for the reception. We didn't see photos from that.
Anyway, I think that's all of the tea about the wedding. Mary gets sick, probably from being out in the cold for long periods of time, sweeping with no jacket.
Well, that's not how you get sick. But
that's how, I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say.
Viruses get you sick. Don't we know it?
Guess she wasn't wiping down her mail.
That must have been it. Or just the stress, from making this decision about telling Robyn, no, I'm not going to come over and make the turkey this year. Or a Rice Krispie turkey either.
I got to tell you, this would be a hard decision for me because I wouldn't want to be home and not have Thanksgiving food.
Yeah, this is tough. I bet you Mary made her own full spread of every single thing that she would have made in the same quantity as if 40 people were going to be at her house. And she's just picking up those leftovers for like a week.
A week.
I didn't mean to make an
still
implication.
Frozen.
Yeah, they're frozen. Yeah.
The summary of this, Thanksgiving used to be a big event. Now it's a small event. Okay.
Well, I like Mary.
That's math. That's division. Love should be multiplied, not divided. We get the point. They've divided. And now there's less people at each Thanksgiving.
Pluses and minuses. Minuses have occurred. I just liked Mary's shirt during this segment too, where it's not for everybody or not for everyone. That was pretty good.
She's been really enjoying trolling. She's been posting some TikToks. She threw some spearmint gum in the trash the other day. Man. I don't think it's her making these TikToks. Someone's given her these ideas and helping her.
Yeah, at least not coming up with the ideas.
That, or she is a genius who has not fully unleashed her social media potential yet.
But keep doing it, because yeah, it's working. You got me, Mary.
Still feels like a little something's missing here from this Thanksgiving, but being surrounded by the feeling of safety, just being surrounded by people who bow down to you, is a feeling that Cody's really enjoying this year.
Yeah, he hopes that things will eventually get better in the future, but he's not going to do anything right now or work on anything or examine any. No, like that's so much work. That sounds very unpleasant for Cody's experience. So he doesn't want to do any of that. And Robyn just gets to say she misses everyone. I wish we were all together. But like, not really at the same time, because what are we doing?
Well, why don't you ever extend an olive branch then? It's one thing to say it, but they don't actually back it up and do anything.
Because that would be a betrayal on Cody, and she knows that.
Well, Cody has to get over it.
And I think that's what Robyn's waiting for, because that's kind of what their confrontation ends up being. But before we get to that, I love how nobody knew what Mary's plans were for Thanksgiving.
Nobody cares.
Well, nobody talks to Mary.
Right. Well, it's the same it's been for years. Nobody's checking in to see if she's okay, if she's alone, if she's sick, if she's in need of a turkey.
Any kind of turkey.
I have a free turkey at the grocery store. Would you like to? Do you need it, Mary?
No.
No?
Nope. We're all good over here. I've already got it. She's just picking it up and hugging it tightly.
She needs her, how many hugs was it? 12 hugs a day?
10 to 12. 20 to thrive. But yeah, here's hoping for a speedy recovery for Mary. May your temperature never rise above 99.7 degrees.
I guess she was okay. She didn't have to go to the hospital at any point.
That's good.
We get some dramatic music that starts playing, and then the screen goes dark, and we find out that the camera crew was heading over to the SheRah Chateau, but Cody and Robyn had gotten to a fight shortly beforehand.
Not a fight. It was a heated argument.
Yeah, that's called a fight.
No, we can't call it that. Legally, we can't call it that.
Get a thesaurus. It's the same thing. It's a synonym. You got into an argument, you got into a fight, and Cody drove off to try to cool down for a little bit.
This is very fake to me. This all felt very scripted and presented to us in this way.
Didn't it feel very theatrical?
Yes, all of it.
The entire thing, from the editing to the acting.
From, Cody pulling back up into the driveway in his big lifted truck and Robyn slowly waddling down the driveway to approach him.
The only part I believe was Robyn taking those tiny steps down the stairs. Why are we outside? Is this lending credence to the idea that they will not film inside their home with the camera crew?
It's not helping, with that cause.
It is freezing cold. It's snowing. They're both wearing more jackets, hats, snow boots, more winter gear than we've ever seen them in.
Cody was thanking Robyn for meeting him at the driveway because he didn't want to continue where they were in the house.
I'm telling you that the house is possessed. That there is a spirit, there's a demonic presence in there, and that it's feeding off of the negative energy, and so they can't go back in the house and fight again.
How close are they to Sedona? Is this a portal? Do we have a...
They're within driving distance.
Yeah,
he's taken Janelle there a couple times.
Yeah, I'm sure Robyn's ordered some geodes from there.
Maybe that's what it is. That's the problem.
Uh-oh.
You invited something in.
This could be a big problem. Yeah. It seems like they're able to work things out outside of the home, and then as soon as they get back in, maybe more trouble arises.
This is the beginning of the Robyn redemption arc, where she is arguing with Cody about how he needs to do more to reach out to his kids. And of course, Cody is not open to taking any feedback, even from Robyn. So that triggered him. He didn't like hearing that because everybody's being mean to him. He's the victim in the whole situation.
Yeah, they're punishing him. Cody is being punished by all of these adult children for not loving their mothers by their standards.
He still doesn't get it.
No, I think the thing that he's missing here is that people are holding him accountable and he doesn't like that.
It is completely fair for your adult children who grew up in a very abnormal circumstance of being in a plural family to come to you as an adult and have complaints about their childhood. Things that maybe you could just validate and apologize for and say that you didn't understand that things had hurt them like that, and then you move on from it.
Well, and he would move on, but then he wouldn't change anything. So then it's going to be constantly going to be brought up, because if nothing's changing, then it's still a problem because you're not making any intention to rectify that and improve that situation moving forward. So that's kind of the other issue here. I think Cody's also just used to communicating with people in vacuums, because Janelle was even talking about this, how Cody would complain to her about his other wives all the time. He would always be talking about the other households and things that were kind of
not really her business to know.
Outside of the normal operating procedure of what you would experience in polygamy. I feel like Cody's big thing was he had control over gossip by his definition.
Because he was the lead gossiper?
Because he was the one who
was Gossip Girl.
Well, he was Gossip Girl.
XOXO Gossip Girl. Can you do that in the Cody Brown accent?
He was Lady Featherbottom. He had the tea on everybody, right? What's her name? Mrs. Goosedown Featherbottom? I don't remember.
No, I don't.
Whistledown.
Whistledown.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Finally got there.
All right. Well, there's that. Yeah, I feel like, what did you want me to say in Cody voice?
I don't remember at this point.
Okay.
I think that would really make the show a lot more interesting if we could have like a Whistledown column that came out and one of the kids was behind it.
Oh, yeah. That was kind of like our Mary's Graham for a little while. A little bit, but different now. It's different. I feel like, this was just, Cody had control of the information for a while, because if anybody tried to bring stuff up to him, or if other people were communicating amongst themselves, that was seen as gossip. That was seen as going behind someone's back. But he was able to go around and just tell people what was going on through his perception. And that's how everybody just accepted it and moved on. Nobody really questioned it. Nobody was like cross-referencing or fact-checking anything that was going on.
You said you weren't going to fact-check anything.
I was told that's against the rules.
So then his problem is that he doesn't get to be the narrator of the family gossip?
I think that's his biggest problem. And then the issue that presents is now you have people where he used to fix things by just telling somebody what they wanted to hear. And then that could be completely opposite and counter to whatever he's telling another person to make them feel better. But as long as those two lines of narration do not cross or intersect, then you're good, because everybody's living their own version of what's happening.
Their own version of reality?
Yeah.
So he had multiple, they're living different timelines.
Yeah, it's like an alternate reality.
Mary's in the
reality.
darkest timeline.
Well, always, pretty much. Yeah, that's not up to her. Thanks for noticing me.
So as much as we feel like this is like put on, there's some truth in it from Cody's side, because I don't think that he is able to filter himself that much. He comes across not good in this conversation.
Yeah, there's a disconnect that's happening, because then Robyn is basically pleading with him at this point, because Robyn is very upset personally by this, because of course it's all about her too in this.
Well, it goes back to the root of her trauma as a child, which was that she had a bio dad who was not very involved in her life, still isn't. He was like kind of a loser who made up a lot of excuses about why he wasn't there for her.
I confronted him and I was met with just a bunch of lame excuses. That sounds familiar. That sounds kind of familiar.
Do you think Robyn has ever considered what Cody's relationship with her kids would be if things were to go south between them?
I don't think so. No. But honestly, I feel like the relationship would get bad on both sides because then Robyn would be talking so much smack about Cody to her kids. Her kids would have to align with her way of thinking.
Well, I guess that's why her theory is that the other kids are misguided in their feelings towards Cody, because in relationships and divorces, that's just what happens, is that the kids get manipulated by, she doesn't want to say it, the moms.
See, this is where I have issue with this as well, because Cody's whole thing was that through polygamy and through raising all of these kids, the responsibility for his relationship with his children was always on the mothers of those children. And then now that those mothers are leaving him, now he's placing the responsibility of these relationships solely on his children to maintain and facilitate these relationships, even though he's their dad.
He doesn't ever want to be put in a spot where he has to exert a bunch of energy to try to get someone to talk to him.
And then he's feeling rejection too, because a lot of times when he tries to offer up an interaction, it's met with opposition or just ignored completely.
This is the thing that I find to be the richest complaint out of all of his complaints, because that's exactly what your wives and children felt like for all of those years. All of the years that they were married to you, and then you turned your attention to Robyn. The kids seeing you focus your time and energy on Robyn's kids, that's how they felt. They felt rejected by you.
But they betrayed me, is Cody's rationale somehow in this. It twists around. That's what it becomes. The betrayal is them to me in that direction only, not how my input and my actions have contributed to the situation that we find ourselves in. None of that.
He blames a lot on Maddie during this conversation, which I guess we finally got to the root of what's going on there, since he didn't want to talk about it in the last episode. But he didn't even know that Maddie was pregnant. He found out at the wedding, just physically seeing her. She didn't want her kids to go near him. He felt like she was shooing them away from him because you're a creepy stranger. Axel maybe remembers him, but Evie certainly doesn't.
They don't want you coming up and speaking broken Spanglish to them at a wedding. They really don't.
Well, it was
Spanglish
Italian.
Yeah. Hola, mi bambinas.
That's scary to a small child, so I understand what she was doing there.
You got to protect your kids.
And then she's the one who's going around spreading rumors. Apparently, she's telling Janelle false things, like that he never loved her, which he now claims he did.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, because it's like, is it false if you're saying it? Now I'm getting confused, because what is true?
Also, did she see that in an episode and then say, hey, Mom, did you see that Dad said this? And then Cody was like, oh, why is she telling her that? It was on national television.
I never said that. I said that in anger, so I didn't actually say that.
This conversation was also really hard to watch, knowing what happens with Garrison and the fact that they don't have an opportunity to repair their relationship before he passes away. And we have Robyn here begging Cody to please just make an effort to communicate with your children, because she's starting to lose respect for him. Just starting now.
Yeah, a little late.
We watched 3 women leave him, one of which he dragged on in this relationship under false pretenses for a number of years.
Almost a decade.
One of whom has a minor child who he just doesn't see anymore, unless it's facilitated by Mykelti.
I'm kind of starting to lose respect for you. I think. Yeah, it's the Robyn redemption storyline. It's really kicking off here. They are trying so hard to get us to feel for Robyn in this situation. And I mean, she's trying. I think she was winning you over a little bit, Carly.
For a minute, I felt bad for her. For a minute. And then I remembered, this is Robyn.
It's Robyn, though. Yeah.
And also, she doesn't have great advice. She's telling Cody he should maybe borderline stalk them. Just take a flight across the country, show up on their doorstep, make them talk to you.
just invade their personal space and don't respect the boundaries. I think this is a very Plathville sort of advice that we're getting here, where it's just not the best. I did like the part when Cody was complaining to Robyn where he doesn't know where all of this hate about Robyn came from. And I had to look over at Carly. We kind of made eye contact with each other on the couch while we were watching this, and it was like, well, uh-oh.
Yeah, whoops. I think we contributed a tiny bit to that, but
Sorry.
I mean, we're only making observations about the same things that your family is literally watching in their real life.
And we're allowed to talk about it because everybody else gets shut down if they bring it up. So we'll talk about it, because then it only becomes more apparent when you're not talking about it, you're not addressing it, and the favoritism just continues to grow.
Well, so this was also part of why I felt conflicted about feeling bad for her for a moment and then being like, never mind. And it's because Robyn says a lot of things that sound good, but she doesn't actually do anything. And knowing that her relationship with Mykelti and Tony has dissolved because she didn't make any effort to keep in communication with them, despite the things she was saying earlier in the episode about this great bond that she has with their kids, I just don't know how much I believe from what Robyn says. I don't know how genuine or earnest she is.
And not earnest in the way of like earnest, scared, stupid. I mean, on that scale, she probably is pretty earnest, but without an A.
It just seems like this very much felt like we need to have a conversation about the stuff that's going on with the kids, and we need to make it seem as though we're considering trying to repair that, even though Cody very much seems like he's not.
Yeah, and he was trying to frame it in this way where it was, oh, I'm upset, I'm mad, and I'm angry, and eventually that will go away, and then hopefully by then things will just sort of work themselves out and we'll be able to get back to a regular interaction.
Yeah, so I could avoid having to apologize to anyone for
anything.
anything.
I'm not going to address any of it. It's the past is the past, and why are you focusing on that?
Well, and they try to pin it on the kids too, because he talks about how he's texted Gabe, which I found very interesting because Gabe was nice to Robyn at the wedding. So he got a text from his dad?
And in some ways, that has to feel like if you're the only person who went out of your way at Logan's wedding to really make an attempt to connect with Robyn and make her feel safe and loved and comfortable, having all of that happen, and then you're the only kid, the only adult child after the wedding to receive a text and receive communication from Cody, it feels like you're being rewarded for respecting Robyn. It feeds into the narrative.
That is the way Cody's mind works.
That's the problem.
He has said that before.
Yes, because he doesn't want to have these conversations with kids who are trying to hold him accountable, who he has to defend himself and Robyn against these horrible accusations that they've come up with along the way.
I'm not surprised that Gabe hasn't responded to him. And then Hunter, he's tried to text before too, and he claims that Hunter just meets him with complete contempt. I would like to see the text messages.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
We need to get the text threads. This needs to be like, we need them up on the screen.
As worried as I was about Hunter in his teenage years, the man that he is now is very emotionally intelligent.
A lot of his kids, Cody's kids,
Yes.
are emotionally intelligent because they were raised primarily by women.
That, and then also it's just, from figuring this out, you force people to look within a lot when you're raising children in that environment. That's the only good thing that comes out of it, because the rest of it is pretty crap. I can tell you that from experience.
From being raised in like a toxic environment with emotionally immature parents.
100%.
Well, all they have to do is another emotionally immature thing to say is just pick up the phone if they want to talk to me. That's on them.
Works both ways.
The phone works both ways.
Always.
That's a classic narcissist line.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are.
It's too happy. It's
I know.
Too happy. It's got to be darker.
No, this is the cameo voice, though.
Okay.
It's specifically.
It is put on. Okay. The cameo voice is a little forced happy.
Yeah, and I can do that. That's my Cody. That's the Cody I know. I can get in there. Answer when I call. Pick up the phone. Somehow Cody's becoming the scapegoat in his own mind, where he's the lightning rod for all of the blame of everything that's happened that's wrong in his kids' lives is his fault. And so he's taking this on. So a lot of his reactions are coming from a place of guilt and shame. That's what he's lashing out about. He doesn't understand that his anger is a secondary emotion to these other hurts that he's feeling. And I really wish that somebody would explain this to him. I don't think he has the time to unpack all of this, but I feel like that's a big part where we're just barely tapping on the surface of what's going on in the ocean of Cody.
Oh, he's never going to get to the bottom of that. He has no desire to go to therapy to try to figure anything out about himself, to dig deeper on that. He's kind of reflecting on the things that may have looked bad for him to the kids, like, you know, the COVID rule situation, not going to Isabel's surgery. That kind of created a rift.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a good look. I'll be honest with you.
Which I love that he's really trying to stay involved in Isabel's life to make that up to her at this point.
And Savannah's. And Truly's. He's really doing a bang-up job. No, he shifted his focus to the other tenders who are now popping up as his children are having children. And he's going to shift all of his grandpa energy to those babies instead. So forget all the fathering that I have to do and lack thereof. I'm not going to make up for any lost time there. I'm just going to cash in on this grandpa thing where I just get attention. I get to be around a baby and it makes me feel good.
This whole thing was just giving really weird soap opera vibes, especially the part where Robyn literally grabs Cody by the shoulders and shakes him and tells him that your kids need you in their life.
Or cupping his face in her hands.
Yeah.
Because I think we were on our third lap in this conversation too, because we had already
kept going in circles.
It was circular in motion where it was just ringing around the same thing.
Forgot their lines.
Yeah, that wasn't a good take. Can we try that again? Can we run that back?
It was giving telenovela. I feel like we just gave you a very deep breakdown of that conversation, but it was comical to watch.
And for Cody to still come up with new excuses, that was what was impressive too, because there was always like a slight little twist every time around where maybe it was this, but then it triggered some of his other responses because I think he said on all three times, what is the thing that I did wrong? Not loving your mother? Where he was accusing that's the problem that his adult children have. That's the crime that he's committed against them, is that he didn't love their moms.
That's like the most recent thing.
Okay, yeah, that's one. That's one example. Yeah, but then it turns around too because woe is me. Cody has to remind Robyn, I'm the person who's going through 3 divorces in 1.5 years. So you need to be patient with me.
It's really like 2. Let's just say it's 2 divorces.
I think the married divorce, you called that a long time ago.
If you didn't count her as a family member for all these years, she doesn't get to count as an extra divorce.
Yeah, I think you're just piling it on at this point.
You want to leave them there? That was a lot. They're just in the driveway. They decide that good chat. Now we can go back in the house.
It was Robyn's gentle parenting on full display with Cody getting closer to his level, grabbing his face and speaking gently, repeating it back slower and quieter.
She's going to give him a pacifier when he gets back inside.
She's a pro at delivering the binkies, getting them to take.
To have some quiet time. Well, Christine went on her first date with David, and while we all know how that story ends, it is just beginning.
Well, yeah, unfortunately. What a great date.
She met him on a dating site the first day that she was using it. That's really convenient.
She loves being single, but first date, this is all it took. She knew that this was a done deal. I mean, not yet at this point, but I mean, we know at this point.
They're already planning their second date. She's planning to put out. But first, she's going to have to break the news about being part of a plural family and the fact that Janelle is part of this package deal. Not in the bedroom. They don't go weird.
Well, yeah. I hope he takes it well, though. I don't know how his reaction is going to be based on current events at all. I liked that Janelle, it was just cutting to footage of her where she's just picking tomatoes. She's raking leaves.
They're using the oldest footage. Wasn't that from COVID when they had a garden at her house?
I'm pretty sure. That was #TomatoGate footage. And I liked that it was just Janelle kind of talking about, well, she's enjoying being single enough for both her and Christine. Because Christine's going to start dating again. That's great. That's not really what Janelle's looking to get into.
You know what? On the B-roll stuff, I bet you that just proves that this season is super long because they don't have enough B-roll to fill all of the episodes. So they're pulling shit from like when they had Cody working on the car that was clearly outside of Christine's house. And now we have
man.
Janelle in her old garden.
Yeah, it's really old stuff. Yeah.
Mary sweeping was probably old too.
That might have been same footage, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really sad that Janelle thinks that partnership is hard because she spent 30 years enduring Cody. She just wants to be single because she can't deal with the roller coaster of another person's emotions. But she doesn't realize not every relationship is like that.
Yeah, I think that's just what she's used to. That's what she knows. This is what relationships are, and that's too much work.
I really want her to find like a retired professor or, someone who enjoys bird watching, who likes to...
A millennial?
I think there's someone out there for her.
A barista.
Who she can enjoy doing things with together, that you don't always have to do things alone because you can't bear the presence of the other person that you're with.
Yeah, I think she doesn't understand that, like, you can be in a relationship with somebody who is your friend. Like, you can have a friendship, because I think Janelle wants friendship, companionship. Yes.
Well, she claimed that she had that with Cody. They had these deep conversations. They were better friends, it seems like. But he was emotionally volatile.
Yeah, and very unexpected as far as like what you were going to get from that situation. Was it going to be good? Was it going to be bad? You don't know until you figure out what mood he's in.
Want to chat about next episode?
It looked like, it was going to be Christine and David turning up the heat here. And then we have Gabe and Janelle talking shop about Robyn and Cody.
You want the official...
And there's a nice little Robyn meltdown in there too. Yeah, let's hear it.
Mary asks the church for a release from her marriage to Cody. Gabe opens up to Janelle about his relationship with his father. Christine is excited for her second date with David. Mykelti reveals she ate her placenta. Robyn is left in tears on Christmas.
Oh, right. That was the other part. Yeah, it seems like Avalon's having some trouble adjusting to the parenting structure now because she's not the only baby in the house.
They just need a nanny. That's the solution. Robyn should have told them that. Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Be sure to chat with us about the episode on our Discord channel by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.